finished.
What was the problem?
Yep.
The problem was that death was reigning over us.
Yes.
Death was beating us down,
Yep.
bullying us, drooping us, sticking us in the garbage, sticking us in the locker. That's what death was doing. God, we were all our days laboring and toiling, trying to find a way to beat death.
Mm.
God came and conquered death, right?
Right.
And handed us as a gift the immortality that we were all the time after.
Right.
That work is finished.
Yep.
Now, as we see that work is finished, and we begin looking at that work, and begin talking with God about that work, talking with other people about that work, it does a dynamic thing inside of us. Our hearts begin to see ourselves clothed in light and life. Like I see through my heart now, not my physical eyes. The Bible talks about living by faith and not by sight. It's talking about faith being your sight. And so now I see that God has come and swaddled me. Just like a newborn baby is born in their blood and they swaddled the baby. I was in my blood. Death was reigning over me. Death was reigning over the human race. And I see God came as a father and swaddled us because we were his. And he swaddled us from the death, the blood of the death. And he swaddled us with light and life. And now I live by the heart. I see myself wrapped in light and life. And that does something in my heart.
Yeah.
It makes me see that I'm the same as God. I don't mean that I am God, but when I see God, I see myself in his face. And I see that he sees himself in me. Because he's the Father of lights, and I'm wrapped in light and life. And so if I'm wrapped in light and life, and he's the Father of lights, it can only mean one thing. I'm his son, and he's my Father. I look like him.
Yeah.
Now, that begins ministering all kinds of things to my heart. It keeps things from my heart. My heart begins living like Jesus says, now is the hour will I be offered up. The prince of this world will come to tempt me, but he has nothing in me. The prince of this world has nothing in you when you begin to live by the faith in your heart that you're wrapped in light and life. Right? He who has the Son has life. And so if you have the Son, you have life. You're wrapped in light and life. Right? You come from the Father of lights. You see yourself in him. It's just like Paul said in 2 Corinthians 3, where he said, we look at Jesus as if we were looking at ourselves in a mirror.
Yes.
That's what the faith, that's what's finished. When we see what God's done to conquer death, it tells us we're not orphans, man. Because we were destitute and we were left on the road alone, beaten and bloody. And someone came looking for us.
Yeah.
So what that means was that it's not that the Father abandoned us and we were orphaned. It's that someone stole us. And the Father came looking. And the Father been looking. You ever seen those accounts where, like, maybe the mother had given away the child, the father had no knowledge of it? And because there's just whatever, stress. It's not to blame the mother. Stress could happen. Maybe the mother and the father didn't have any kind of real relationship. The mother gives the baby up for adoption because she's not with the father. She don't even want to be with the father. They don't got no thing, and the father doesn't know. And then the child finds out that the father never wanted to give away the baby.
Yeah.
And what? The father was always looking. You see stuff on Facebook. I seen a guy post something the other day. He talked on Facebook. He had gotten into a bad accident and was like in a coma for several years and had like a major brain malfunction. Didn't even know he had a daughter for all these years. And he found out like 20 years ago and just been looking and looking and looking and looking. And so it's like we see now, because like Mo says, we see it's finished. What's finished? God come and conquered our death to give us eternal life as a gift. Mm-hmm. That tells us we were never orphans and that God never left us, but that someone stole us. Right. And that he came looking for us to claim us back as his own. Mm-hmm. And so now we see he's come and swaddled us with light and life. His life is a light. That's why he's called the Father of lights. It says the Word was made flesh and light entered the world, and the life was the light of the world.
Yes.
The life that was in Jesus was the light of the world. What light? You're not orphans, man. You have a Father from heaven. You've been cut from the rock. You've forgotten the rock you were hewn from. God's come to remind you, right?
Yes.
And so now, man, when you start, it's finished. When you start really meditating on what's finished, it's finished is not God was angry with you and he went to a 12-step anger management program.
Right.
And now he's not angry anymore. That's not what it's finished means. It's finished means your enemy was death. You couldn't overcome that enemy. It was a big giant. Nobody figured out how to come out of the grave. God came and conquered that death and raised a man up in his glory and immortality, telling us I'm your father.
Right.
It was like, Luke, I'm your father. Darth Vader. Right?
Yes.
And so listen, what'll happen is you'll see yourself wrapped in light and life. That's what it means to live by faith. We could say a lot of things about what it means to live by faith. But living by faith is not you trying to believe. It's not you trying not to have doubt. It's that when you see yourself wrapped in light and life, then you don't have any doubt.
Right.
I didn't say you don't ever have frustration. I didn't say, listen, I feel frustration sometimes. You think about I can sleep for 10 days and I can't breathe at night and my lungs are, and I'm like, you think I wasn't frustrated? I tell you what though, I knew that I was loved. And I knew that I was a son.
Yeah.
And I knew that I had eternal life. And I knew I was wrapped in light and life. I didn't feel any doubt. I didn't think God was far from me. I didn't think this had anything to do with some sin. I didn't think that this could separate me from God's love.
Right.
You see? Because I see myself as wrapped in light and life. And so I know I'm loved. I'm persuaded that I'm loved. I no longer look at things that happen. Am I loved? If I can get a miracle, then I'll know I'm loved. No, man. No. I know I'm loved because it's finished.
Right.
That's why I know I'm loved. Because it's finished.
That's right.
God conquered death.
Right.
Death can't keep me from him or his life.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And that's what the gospel is.
Yeah.
Right?
Indeed.
Does that make sense?